Now, last year, Eddie Izzard raised an incredible £1.8 million for sport relief by running 43 marathons in 51 days. And he joins me now. Have you recovered?
I don't quite believe it. I'm watching that footage. I don't know if it is. It was actually faked with CGI.
Was it? Was there lots of different Eddie lookalikes?
I just ran down the end of the street and back. No, it gets easier after 15 marathons. That's the trick.
Jeez, I don't ever want to put that to the test because, I mean, I've done a marathon, but I mean, I did 4 over like 5 years.
Right.
And it just about killed me. That was the last one that we did, and I found it so hard, physically and mentally. It was
well,
really
it's mentally.
tough.
Somebody said about this thing, I keep repeating it, someone else's quote, endurance running is 90% mental and the other 10% is in your head.
Yeah.
So this is controlling everything. If this says you're going to do it, you will do it. And we know this from stories of people who've been trapped up mountains and whatever, and they survived.
Yeah.
Or that guy fell down a crevasse and crawled out of it, and it was because this thing said, I'm going to make it. And that's what controls everything.
I guess, but you must be a really, really strong person then. You must be very focused, very strong, and somebody that likes to challenge himself.
Transvestite has got this far, so I've got to be fairly... You know, when I first walked out the door wearing... leg warmers it was, apart from anything else, and that's what I got hassled by school kids for. But you know, I think I'm a determined idiot.
You are. No, a determined idiot, that's a lovely, lovely description. But I mean, I actually find you strangely attractive when you're in your frock.
Well, that's what I wasn't told on the label when they said, you know, coming out, actually women are going to come and say, yeah, this really works. But actually women come up to me if I'm wearing makeup and they say, you should change that and move, and that doesn't work, but that works, I like that, and change that. And they're very forward on this, which also I had no instructions on.
But you do look beautiful. I mean, we've got a picture of you there.
Well,
I think you look fantastic.
There's times I can look fantastic and sometimes I can look less fantastic. But I am a bloke wearing makeup, so I think I'm starting from a different end of the spectrum. But anyway, that's just me being honest. And I told my dad years ago, and he was very
positive about it. That's what's really good about it. I mean, your dad is hugely proud of you, as he should be.
He's great.
And that's fantastic.
And it's his 82nd birthday coming up at the end. And this, I know we're going to talk about it, but this Laughs of the Park happening in St Albans. He was evacuated to St Albans back in 1940, you see. And so they said that this is the first comedy festival, I think it's the first one, outside, because you know music festivals happen outside, classical music festivals happen outside.
Yeah.
And we haven't done, comedy is usually a sort of add-on to music festivals. So we thought we'd do one outside, 3 nights, 3 comedians, Reginald D. Hunter, me and Dylan Moran, 3 nights, and fireworks afterwards. And it's happening at the end of...
So it's a big event. It's the end of September.
End of September, but we're, you know, which is later in the, you know, in our summer era. But we usually get an Indian summer, and the weather stays.
Crossed,
you know, so
it doesn't matter if it rains.
It doesn't matter because I'm staying on stage whatever happens.
It doesn't matter. Just watch your mascara doesn't run though. That'll be a nightmare.
Mascara will run, but then you look like a badger, and then badgers
fine.
They come along and they enjoy it much better.
Of course they do. Will your dad go and see you? Does he come along?
He is. I've said he's coming, and he's really excited because he goes up and he wants to meet the people in the house where he stayed. So if you're in St Albans, there's a house where my dad stayed, and I think the daughter still owns the house.
Right.
Where he
and he wants
stayed.
to go back. That's
yeah,
really
and
good.
he took me there last time, but there was no one in. We just knocked on the door, so we've got to go back this time. And he saw everything. He saw, you know, London on fire and all that stuff going on, and planes crashing, and Duxford's near there, and so
because we've all been thinking about that, obviously, with the 70th, you know, anniversary of the Blitz and everything. I think it's very much to the forefront of people's minds.
Absolutely.
And people are kind of more talking about it. I think it's really important that younger generations know what people went through. You know, people like your dad, people of that generation, what they went through. It's extraordinary.
No, I mean, that links to me doing my marathons. I feel like we all can do way more than we think we can. And the kids that ran with me and other people and you know, disabled people who ran with me, everyone can do more than they think they can do. So I do encourage people to do that.
You're still running?
I am. I'm swimming more, and I'm just, there's a marathon of marathons that's going to happen in Athens at the end of this month as well. So go online and look at that. Look online for Laughs of the Park if you want to get tickets for that. And the marathon of marathons, which is, I think it's a huge anniversary of the first marathon that was ever run by Philippides or whatever his name was. The guy who ran, they're not sure exactly where he ran, but he ran the very first marathon way back when in ancient Greek times. And so it's the 2000th anniversary or something anniversary, and I'm a patron of that, and that's happening at the end of this month. So there's still places involved if people go online.
Excellent.
Looking to do that.
And are you going to challenge yourself more? I mean, like Ironman things and all of that?
Yeah, I want to do Ironman. People. I saw a guy doing an Ironman 80. The original Ironman, it happens in Hawaii, and I saw a bloke who was finishing at 80 years old. And you run a marathon, you cycle 110 miles, and you swim 4.5 miles.
Jeez, that's extraordinary.
So
but it's a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a challenge.
Otherwise, because we're going to live to 100. You know, people are living to 100 quite standard.
Right.
And if you decide, well, we're supposed to be hunter-gatherers, we are not supposed to be doing this, working on your expensive computer, which you do a lot of work on. I know.
Oh, yes,
We've been talking about how intensively you work on that. And that's not what we're designed for. We're designed for all this stuff and the picking berry stuff, which I don't is
we have to get up off our bottoms and do more.
Otherwise, you just got the last 30 years of your life. You're just going to be sitting in a chair.
Exactly. I don't know how you do it, though, because you do all of this. Still obviously doing comedy with a big festival coming up, and a really successful movie career. And you've done something that's really unusual in that very serious roles. You know, I mean, we've seen you in Valkyrie, for example. I mean, that was I thought that was even though you knew that they weren't going to manage to kill Hitler, you still were on the edge of your seat.
I know, it was like Apollo 13, wasn't it? Where you knew what happened.
You knew they were going to be all right, but at the same time the suspense was still
I know.
there.
I thought that film worked very well, and it's taken over 200 million now. And it's a great film as well, because I'm very much for, you know, all of us in the world, we are all the same people. And young German kids grew up with this legacy of this Hitler who kidnapped a country for 12 years. And it's not what an average German did before 1933 and after 45. They're just people. They did, you know, we all fought wars in the old days. And so young German kids can now watch it, and young British kids can watch that film, Valkyrie. And everyone's trying to get rid of this evil man.
Exactly.
I was going to use a stronger word.
Yes, well done, remembering what time of the morning it was. But you've done that, you know, working with Tom Cruise, you've worked with Brad Pitt and George Clooney and all these people. And for people on the outside of that, they must think, how on earth do you cope with that? But you've just said, we're all just people. You know, they're all just getting on with their job.
And you also have to just crank your ego up sometimes and just, you know, because when I'm doing stand-up, people have turned up in the audience, and you just have to, you know, in the end, everyone goes to the loo.
Indeed, that's a good leveler.
Which is not actually something I bring up in conversation to try and make it work, but it is that kind of thing. You know, they're all ambitious and trying to do good work, and so it's good to. I mean, I love doing films. Films is my first love. Being a dramatic actor is my first love. Comedy was my second love. I just like watching comedy. I didn't think I could do it.
Oh, good, you certainly can. And in French, and maybe you're going to do it in Russian. They're talking about that.
Well, I'm doing the French gigs hopefully next year, because I've been threatening to. I did some 10 years ago, but I really need to get Paris, because at the moment they don't know about it. And then German the year after, and then Russian the year after that is my plan.
Очень хорошо. It's really good.
It's going to be, but it is possible, because everyone has a sense of humour. Humour is human. It's not nice.